So with the new Pokemon game on the horizon, what better way to celebrate than spending many hours shiny hunting in the current games before they're tossed aside and rarely revisited for the first year of the new release?
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Now, the easiest thing to celebrate a new Pokemon game would be to hunt the shiny Pokemon that are the same color of the title. So for a game like Scarlet and Violet, just hunting for red or purple shinies. Wait, what do you mean the game is named Legend ZA? That's not a color. Okay, well, that just means we need to get a bit more creative with the shinies then. Maybe like an alphabet challenge, perhaps? Maybe we can get a little silly with it and hunt the letters in backwards order, like Z to A, perchance? So let's start hunting! Now, I didn't plan out my list of shinies, but I wanted to have a good variety of mons from all over the Paladale region as a farewell to Scarlet and Violet. For now. However, I'm an opportunist, so of course if there was any boosted odds or shinies that caught my eye, then I'd go for it. It was actually pretty fun to hunt without a hard plan, other than just go for what Pokemon that started with a letter I didn't have already. I ended up hunting for some mons that I probably wouldn't have looked for, and I also tried some different methods so it wasn't just sandwich after sandwich. It was indeed sandwich after sandwich. I do want to note that I did try to go in backwards alphabetical order after the easy event outbreak hunts from Chi-Yu were over, and I did try to be clever by hunting in areas with multiple spawns of targets that I was trying to hunt and knock out, but of course that led to hunting letters out of order. Zweilous was my first target, and in my first area I definitely had a lot of overlapping dark spawns. I was low-key trying to hunt for Umbreon, because that shiny is awesome, and it's one of the few new Pokemon, but it did not turn out. I ended up changing my hunting area to go deeper into Area 0 rather than that cave, and there was a lot of Brute Bonnet and Roaring Moon that spawned, which would definitely cover other letters that I didn't have because I'm obviously just starting this, totally right, wink wink. Of course, Zweilous was not the first one I found, but here's the clip of me finding it. After being mugged by multiple Pokemon, of course. And any smart, reliable shiny hunter knows to always save before encountering your shinies. This will be important later. My next hunt was a very quick outbreak hunt for Yungoos. I like that little purple guy, he looked funky, but it appeared almost immediately after I did a sandwich. Like I said, almost immediately in like 10 seconds. And unfortunately we have to skip over the letter X because there is no huntable Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet that starts with X, so for W, of course there's no better choice than the little whoopee boy. Look at him, he's just a pink little guy. Next is my U Pokemon, and with my failed attempts for Umbreon, I turned to one of the few only other huntable U Pokemon, Ursaring, and I somehow lucked out and didn't phase with an Oranguru or a Teddiursa until later. Look me doing hippie happy hops because I found my target. Woohoo! Now for my T Pokemon, I lucked out and found a Torchic outbreak, and anytime I see a starter outbreak in the Blueberry Academy, I have to go for it, because those outbreaks are super rare, and of course I want to collect all those shiny starter Pokemon. I actually love where the Torchic outbreaks spawn, because that cave is super easy to do picnic resets in, and it's so cute when all those Torchic little chasing to the corner. I took a quick break to trade my friend a shiny Koraidon from the DLC codes that were given away at GameStop. It's really fun when you're the only friend who has both copies of the game and everybody wants Koraidon, so you have to start like 3 Violet profiles, because you can only do 1 per profile. Back to hunting, it took quite a few sandwiches, but eventually that little chicken did shine. Sneasel was actually one of my first phases during that Zweilous hunt, and that was the ultimate reason why I changed the spot, but I did find that shiny Sneasel in that original Dark Sandwich before I moved. And that was my S Pokemon. And R also just so happens to be a phase from the Dark Sandwich in the same Area 0 spot. When I mentioned the Roaring Moon spawning, I thought it would be hilarious if that was the first one I found shiny, and boy was that not what happened exactly. I was actually pretty excited to find the Roaring Moon, because I hadn't really hunted any of the Paradox forms yet, and I know Roaring Moon's one of the more difficult ones to hunt before Switch 2 hardware came out, and the spawns kinda sucked. Q is another one of those letters that don't really have that many options like U to hunt, so I ended up on Quillfish, which is the most obvious choice, but I decided to do the Hisuian variant in the Blueberry Academy, and it's really easy to isolate with a Poison or Dark Sandwich. The Hisuian variant has such a cool shiny, and I actually haven't found it in Legends Arceus yet, and since I have the shiny charm in Scarlet and Violet, I thought this would definitely be the better place to hunt it. P was a fun letter because there's a few options I had in mind, but after trying and failing a Pyroid outbreak in the terrarium, I was hyper-focused on getting a Pyroar. I tried 3 more outbreaks that just would not spawn, not show up. They were on the map and just did not exist. So I finally found one in Paldea and it worked out awesome. This was definitely one of the shinies that tried to hunt me instead, but I feel like Pyroar is a pretty underrated shiny. It's kind of a meh change, but it does look pretty cool. Next up is O, and I just happened to be hunting in the area for Ursaring with a normal sandwich. I had found that Ursaring pretty fast, but I hung around the area because I noticed Oranguru spawning, and I thought, why not knock out 2 Pokemon with 1 sandwich? And for N, I had the perfect opportunity to hunt Numel with the boosted Chi-Yu outbreaks, and that shiny is very hard to see in the overworld with lighting in Scarlet and Violet, so I definitely wanted those boosted odds to work for me. The boosted odds worked so well that I actually got 2, so I could complete the line. Alrighty, we've made it to the halfway point of the alphabet. We do still have that other half to go, so let's keep hunting and finding those shinies. For M, I just so happened to have a Makuhita outbreak, and I actually really like that shiny as well as Hariyama, so I thought it was the perfect chance to hunt them, but something a little exciting happened while we were doing this hunt. suffice to say, that gave me a nice little heart attack, but thankfully you can't set a picnic while riding Koraidon. So unfortunately, trying to save and doing muscle memory with picnic resets can lead to some disastrous results. Thankfully it worked out fine this time and I still managed to catch my Makuhita. With my obsession for trying to conquer shiny Pyroar, finding a shiny Litleo seemed to follow the logic pretty well. This little guy showed up extremely fast, just like Papa Pyroar, and I didn't even get a chance to record the encounter. But it's okay, I forgive him, he's just a cute little guy, so it's fine I guess. I didn't really know what I wanted to do for K, but then a Komala outbreak showed up, and again on the Switch 2 hardware, Lag Tree Thicket is no longer that laggy, so it's finally redeemed as just Tag Tree Thicket, and Komala has a pretty interesting shiny, so I thought, why not go for it? Another one for the little guys club, cause he's just a little guy. Seeing those little koalas like awkwardly roll around on the ground was really interesting, but when I finally found the shiny, I was really disappointed to find out I didn't have the perfectly matching Pokeball of a Dream Ball. So I had to settle for a Heal Ball, just matching with that pink. Now the I and J hunts were actually my last hunts I completed for this challenge, and I had tried J a few times. I decided on Jigglypuff because I already had Jangmo-O and I didn't really want to hunt him again, and I thought the Jigglypuff challenge would be fun. I was wrong. I had to do multiple outbreaks, and in the end I just resorted to using a fairy sandwich outside of one of the cities that just spawned a ton of fairy Pokemon, and just had to look really close at the Jigglypuff's eyes. I stuck with it after multiple sandwiches, and I was actually really proud of myself when I did finally find it, because it is a pretty subtle shiny, so definitely using that Let's Go feature and having your Pokemon send out an attack just like Zorla and Ditto really helps for those more subtle shinies. I left I to be one of the last hunts because I just wasn't sure what I really wanted to hunt for it, like with many of the letters, and I kept resetting for an Illumise outbreak. The frustrating thing with those is it's timed, so they are night spawns, so you can only really hunt it about half the time you can if it was just a normal outbreak, but I did stick with it and eventually found not only one, not only two, but 3 shinies. And you can see that third pesky little Goliath flying around in the background. Now, I love dogs, and I love the color blue. So when I got to H, it was definitely a no-brainer to go for Houndour. I also had a Houndoom outbreak, but I like the little guys more. And Shiny Houndour is actually one of the few shinies that matches the Quick Ball pretty well, so it was a really solid choice to do a quick catch on this one. Okay, I can't do a shiny alphabet challenge without catching at least some evolutions. And Glaceon just happens to be my favorite. It also kinda sucks. It's really hard to see, really annoying, but still really good shiny. Glaceon is absolutely obnoxious to do an outbreak for. I was just constantly getting mobbed by more and more Pokemon. and I had my outbreak on a slanted hill, and so I was just slowly falling down the side. It's just really obnoxious, and the shiny is so hard to see in Scarlet and Violet lighting. I had so many fake out moments, but I finally conquered it, and then turned around and found another one immediately. And what better F Pokemon to follow Glaceon than Flareon? And this one was a very quick outbreak. I don't even think I put a shiny sandwich on. It just showed up after I knocked out 60. Nice, easy, and simple. Thank God. After that nice and easy hunt, I decided to go for another hard hunt because I hate myself. So for E, I chose Electric. It's a little bit easier to see than Tynamo, but not as easy as to see as Electros. Also, it knows a recoil move, Wild Charge. Fun, fun. Don't forget to save, kids. D was another letter that I had no idea what I wanted to hunt, so I just let whatever outbreaks show up that started with D choose my Pokemon. Ended up being Dewpider, which is actually a pretty cool shiny. I skipped out on Sun and Moon a lot, so again getting Oranguru, Komala, and Dewpider in this challenge was really cool to see those shinies, since I did not get them in Sun and Moon, didn't play Alola a whole lot. But my biggest issue with Dewpider is it has no matching Pokeball. There is no good purple Pokeball, purple and red, it just, no good options. It sucked. I finally decided on the classic choice, Luxury Ball. And for C, I rounded out the Chi-Yu outbreaks with Charcadet. I did go for 2, I think, and I reset to catch one in a Beast Ball because again, I hate myself. It took me more time to catch it in a Beast Ball than it did to find the shiny. And as you've already guessed, for B, I decided to do Brute Bonnet. That was one of my other hunts when I was doing Zweilous from the very beginning with the Dark Sandwich. I phased on that Roaring Moon, and then I found that Zweilous, and I stuck around for a little bit longer, went to more of the grassy area outside of the cave, and there was a crazy amount of Brute Bonnet. So again, with that switch to hardware, the hunting those Paradox forms is just so much easier. And since that Brute Bonnet went so easily, I followed it up yet again with another very hard hunt. Not because it's a hard shiny to see, just because the Pokemon is so tiny. And as you might have guessed, it is going to be Applin for A. I decided to try my luck at an outbreak rather than doing the auto battle AFK method, and it made for a more enjoyable hunt, I would think, but trying to look at those tiny little apples on the ground was really hard. There were fungus that were spawning that were also red, and then there's this one little mushroom on the ground that always caught me every single time. And also, the applins would hide in the bushes, so I'm impressed I saw the green shiny through the grass. But I finished it, found the last guy, and we finished up our shiny alphabet challenge. I successfully caught my 25 letters of the alphabet, because again in Scarlet and Violet there is no X. So you might be thinking, how did I do? And so for my alphabet I have Zweilous for Z, Yungoos for Y, Wooper for W, Vulpix for V, Ursaring for U, Torchic for T, Sneasel for S, Roaring Moon for R, Hisuian Quillfish for Q, Pyroar for P, Oranguru for O, Numel for N, Makuhita for M, Litleo for L, Komala for K, Jigglypuff for J, Illumise for I, Houndour for H, Glaceon for G, Flareon for F, Electric for E, Dewpider for D, Charcadet for C, Brute Bonnet for B, and Applin for A. Now how about marks? Out of my 25 alphabet shinies, only 4 of them were marked. That would be Electric, has the lunchtime mark, so Electric the Peckish. Oranguru, that is the dusk mark, Oranguru the Dozy. Also the Hisuian Quillfish. It is the excited mark, Quillfish the Giddy. And then the last but not least, the Sneasel, which is the cloudy mark for Sneasel the Cloud Watcher, which is hilarious because he was caught in a cave. So the basis of a shiny alphabet challenge is to look for shiny versions of Pokemon with names that start with each letter of the alphabet. Now I did my alphabet backwards, but I still feel like I'm walking away with 25 cool new shiny Pokemon, accomplished the challenge that I set out to do, and excited for Pokemon ZA coming out today. I'll be seeing you guys next time in Pokemon Legends ZA.